Hello and welcome to 4000 and Counting, brought to you by Hurricane e-bikes. I am Watty, and today I am joined by, I'm joined by the next announcement for the Saturday, 5th of August charity game 3.0 returning player, Mr. Rupert Quiney. Rupe, strength and conditioning, ice hockey, family history. We're going to get it all done today. I am very pleased to welcome you on to 4000 and Counting. You've been on friend of the friend of friend of the show, Two L's and
Just
Hockey Tales. I had a little listen to
oh
that.
yeah.
You're a bit of a podcast whore at the moment. I love it.
I like it. I've never done podcast before up until like I guess that was like a month ago or something, and I love it. Well, I've been trying to get this booked with you for we've both
We
been trying to
talked
get
during
this
the
booked for a
season, didn't
while,
we?
innit? Yeah. So
We
so
talked about this during the season,
we're
and
busy guys.
we are busy. But this is going to be like mutually beneficial for both of us, but also for any of the athletes that are watching that are young and going to wonder about what it kind of takes and what the difference is being that guy and this guy. We both have plenty of experience in it. Now Rupe's working with the Flames, he's working with the EIHA program. We're going to be able to get into that. But first of all, I want to get into a bit about your career, give people a bit of a background. The old man was a bit of a player back in the day, wasn't
Yeah, well, yeah, if we address him as anything other but the legend,
he? Yeah,
then
legend
then
indeed.
then we get in trouble really. No, he's yeah, because obviously like I grew up playing at Streatham and he grew up playing at Streatham in the 60s, 70s and stuff. And anything anyone around Streatham Ice Hockey Club, it's with the Quiney name sort of goes back a long way. I think it's fair to say both me, my dad, and all my family. There's Stratham's always like a very fond place to go. It's why I wanted to go and end my career there, right? So
Yeah, what I pray when I saw you sign there, and I was just like, it's too perfect. And I could kind of tell the way the trajectory was going, the strength and conditioning was going this way. Proper
yeah,
shoulder injuries. When you signed in straight, I was like, he's going to be done after this. But
yeah,
that's pretty fucking cool that he gets to go where when we talk about legends and clubs, and obviously we joke about it there, but the old man was fucking legend there. Like
yeah.
straight legend.
I mean, it's like some of the stories,
Oh, by the
and
way, it's Peter for anyone that doesn't know. But
yeah,
we
yeah.
we just
Pete,
assume that everybody
yeah.
knows who we're talking about. There's guys that have
Peter
been watching
Peter
like
Quiney,
Romford
yeah.
Raiders for 18 months that have picked this podcast up going, what? What?
Yeah. No, so yeah, my dad, Peter Quiney, he grew up playing at Streatham and then played all through. He's a little bit older than Tony Hand, I think. He he's
So the
like
old man's 62. Oh, I don't think Tony's gonna be very happy. The old man's
well, no,
62. Tony's got to be maybe mid 50s, maybe.
yeah. So he's a little yeah. When I say a little bit older, I'm not talking about like a week. I'm talking about like
Yeah,
like a few years.
wasn't born in
But
this same month.
But the reason I say that was so when Streatham back in the day in that old barn, they were playing in the top flight of British hockey, Heineken Cup, all like the I forget what the bloody
The
magazines were
BH
called.
Power Play Ice Hockey News Review.
Yeah. And like so Streatham played in one of the like cup finals at Wembley Arena against Tony Hand and Murrayfield and stuff, and I think they lost in a shootout or something. My dad was like 20, he was early 20s or something like that. And then like you didn't have many imports in the leagues and stuff like that, and
Two or three
so
max.
yeah, and yeah, my dad tells a story about like about playing in that barn, that environment, and just like how fun hockey was when you're like traveling up to Scotland on the train or whatever, and then you're coming back at that like silly clock going to work. But it's just like everyone just, in the
Sucked
80s.
it up and got on with it, right?
Well, yeah, and like you imagine you know, what athletes do these days in terms of like peak performance and stuff like that. And you know, what's like acceptable now. It's like in the 80s, it's like, you know, it's like
Make sure you got your carry out for the train on the way. Like,
yeah, like you imagine how much fun that would be. Like,
oh man, like
yeah,
the most fun.
those trips are yeah. But
Well, we've just seen it. Solway have just come into the National League, and
yeah,
I've seen some bitching going on. I know we've spent our fair share of hours on hockey buses. It's the most fun you can have, especially if you
yeah, man,
win. You've got, I don't know, Manchester away. You got to come back to Basingstoke.
yeah,
You know, you don't have to drive at the other end. You've just won. Your chances are it's a Sunday night. You're coming back. You're gonna have some pints. You're gonna play some snaps. Boys are gonna be telling stories. It's the most fun ever. It's the biggest
yeah.
bond. It's the biggest bond when you've got those long road trips.
It's the best. That was a one drawback. You know, we was talking about me going back and playing at Streatham to end my career. That was the one drawback about those last couple of years, because obviously it's like you're
Cars.
playing.
Everyone's in cars, right?
Yeah, everyone's in cars. Not many local. Like I wasn't local to Streatham. I was traveling from Guildford, right? So you know we had like 2 bus trips, and a few of us would be getting on halfway from meeting them somewhere to jump on the bus to Cardiff, and then it's like, you know,
It's
driving it
not the
like
same as leaving
whereas
from the locker room, is it?
like a proper bus trip with all the boys, when you don't have like it's shit getting back from Scotland, and then
Oh
you know
yeah, bollocks!
you've
It's
got
the
you've
worst.
got like you've got a home game the next day or something like that, like they do in the Elite League. Like that's tough. But it's, you know, when like if hockey's your job and you've got road trips and stuff and you don't have to worry about going up for work, it's like those bus trips are so much fucking fun.
And
They're
also, like, if that's your job, the 20 guys that you have to see every day are not the same dickheads that everyone else has to see in the office that they fucking hate. Like they've got no time for and they wouldn't want to spend any time with away from their job.
yeah,
We used to get the opportunity to do that foray job with our friends, and it's a cool thing. Like I
yeah,
like the fact that the National League's expanding, because the minute they called it the National League and nothing to do, like it was the English Premier League. And everyone was like, well, you've
yeah.
shut us out for ages. Well, no, it was the English Premier League for ages. And then it was the EP fucking EIHL or whatever they renamed it. And now
Mm,
it's a National League. The minute you call that the National League, you have to invite Solway in when they keep
yeah.
dominating. Obviously, people talk about Streatham, but as you said, Rupe, when you played there, my brother plays there, Paints plays there, fucking all the guys at Farney, Kazi,
Like
Chinny, go back to
like
everybody. Nobody lives in Streatham, like, because it's London. It's
well,
extortionate.
and they those players, what, like I was saying, those players want to play in that league because of the lighter schedule, and all those players have lives, kids, work commitments. So they can still make some money playing hockey. It's not as much as it would be in the second league, but
Of course not.
most of Stratton players are National League caliber players,
I agree.
right? But there's obviously a point when players get to a certain age where like responsibilities come in. You got houses, mortgages, and stuff like that. It's like, okay, it's like I would have loved to carry on playing, would have loved to, but I can't because of work commitments,
Real
family
life.
commitments. Yeah, and I'm not, you know, I'm not like, you know, like my missus would be like if I wanted to go play, she would absolutely be happy for me to
Get
go
you out of the
play.
house 4 nights a week. Yeah, that'll do it.
Well,
Yeah.
but like, you know, like she wouldn't want to stop me from doing that because it's been my life for such a long time. But I don't want to not see my kid for however many hours every weekend. And you know, after having years of weekends being sacrificed, like not weekends being sacrificed, but weekends being spent going
Hey,
off playing
no,
hockey.
that's a good word. Sacrifice is a good word.
Yeah, I like
We didn't know any different though, Rupe. You got to remember that. So we got in at
yeah,
fucking 6 or whatever it was, and that was it until we were out in the late 20s.
yeah.
It wasn't really sacrifice. It's not until you get that first weekend off, and you know
Yeah.
you're not going back next weekend or the weekend after, and your mate goes, "Fancy come down to Boozer and watching, Man U Arsenal 3 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday." You go, "Actually, do you know what, lads? I'm in this week. I haven't been in for the last 475 fucking fixtures.
Yeah,
But
mate.
yeah, I can have a Saturday off. I can come and meet my friends who I've known my whole fucking life that I've not been able to socialize with on a Tuesday night, on a Thursday night, on a Friday because I had a game on a Saturday and Sunday,
yeah.
or then Saturday and Sunday night. So yeah, basically you can't see your friends
Well,
unless
and when you get up to mid 20s, late 20s, it's like you're missing weddings. You're missing
weddings,
you're
funerals,
missing like
kids, all of
big
it.
bigger stuff. Yeah. Yeah, and like, it's like all the hockey players that can play at that level, they're paid to play because they're good at what they do. And like it is a privilege in a way to get paid to go and play a sport, which is like it's cool, but it
It's not big
definitely
money though, is it, Rupe? That's the problem.
no, not when you got people your mouths to feed and stuff like that. But I mean, who knows? Like maybe in the future the game grows and we're able to, can you imagine if that second league being a mainly Brit league? Can you imagine if that was good enough where everyone's pro in that
That'd be
second league?
fantastic.
Can you
So
imagine?
I had Joey Lewis on last week, and he's out playing the DL2, and
Oh
they
yeah.
have
Is he still out there?
mate. He's been out there. This is wild. I didn't realize it until I got into his stats and stuff when we did the pod last week. Obviously, he came off and played 5 games that year in Swindon with me when I was in Swindon my first year, and then he
Yeah.
fucked off to Germany as a junior, and he's never been back, mate. He's never been
Yeah.
back. He went into the DNL, the Junior League, then the Ober League or the third league, and now the DL, the second league. And he talked about he has guys on his team that are between the ages of, I don't know, 17 and 21, and they're on like a central contract. It's called a development contract. They get paid €1,200 a month. And they're the only players in the entire roster that get paid year round.
Oh really?
And right now, while we're all going off to lay bricks and fucking put scaffolding up and sit in the office, these little bastards are fucking in the gym and on the ice every
Being
day in
being
an
pro hockey
apartment being
players.
a pro hockey player. Guess who's going to make the fucking DEL?
Yeah.
Those guys.
Wow.
It's such a good setup. Imagine right now if Guildford had 4 kids that were getting paid 1,200 quid a month. Rob, the Hepburns were putting them up in one of the team houses that the imports are no longer using, and they could get on the ice every day and get in the gym with you every day.
Yeah.
It's a game changer, mate. Like,
One
can't
hundred
explain how much of a game changer.
like I've always said like, and like, like obviously, you know, I don't want to get into it loads because obviously at the end of the day I work in the elite league and whatnot, so I don't want to be hypocritical and stuff. But one of the issues that there is with the elite league, regardless of my opinions or not, is that top elite league is a pro league and the second league is not a pro league, right? And generally, like I think for our development, well, I said I wasn't going to be an opinion, and then I just said I think so. Oh well, I
No,
guess
but
it
it's
is.
fine, mate, because
I guess
these
it
are
is my opinion
conversations
a
that
little
need to
bit.
have.
Yeah. It's like like the elite league is such a good league, and no doubt that like the standard of hockey does good things for British hockey. Um, but also there needs to be some way, whether it's elite league or another system, or like what we're talking about, like what they do in Germany, where British hockey players are given the opportunity to be professional athletes.
Yeah.
Like
Year
there
round,
needs,
not fucking 8 months a year.
yeah, like
But
even if they were,
how many jobs at the job center would get taken up if they went, yo, right, we're going to pay you this amount for 8 months, but then you don't have a job for 4 months? Everyone would be like, what the fuck are you talking about? But in ice hockey, we're like, yeah, that's cool. No, it's not
yeah,
cool. Give these guys, even if it's like, I imagine, right? I don't know. I'll try and keep it round numbers from my brain. But imagine you're making £1,000 a week, yeah, in the Elite League,
yeah,
which would equate to £52,000 a year.
yeah,
Okay. Well, it's not because it's like a 30-week season. So you're getting 30 grand a year. which not many of the Brits will be getting. Let me tell you that for nothing.
No.
How about if something written into the contracts with if you take $750 a week during the season, the other $250 goes into the off season, and if you do that, we'll match that. Kind of like what you would do with a pension. So, in fact, what you're going to get is 36 grand, but in the off season, you're going to have 500 quid a week, and during the season, you're going to have 750.
So
but that way, you can then you get a bit more money out of the club.
Yeah.
But in the summer, instead of going fucking bricklaying and building houses and digging holes and smashing your body to bits for 4 months, you can actually go to the gym every day. You can feed yourself well. You can get your protein in. You can go on the ice where you want to be. You want development, make the guys professional. They're not asking. None of them are. You know these boys. None of them are asking for fucking $3,000 a week. None of them are prima donnas. They're not trying to be rich. They want to feed their fucking kids and make sure they can go. But let them do that without having to go. And by the way, 500 quid is a very modest wage. So they're probably not asking the world, but if they can pay their mortgage and do everything, but solely focus on being an athlete,
well, and
we're going to get better players.
And even like the German model, right? Like if you have 4 prospects which are reserved like that, so it's like, okay, these are our guys that are our pro prospects.
League-wide rule, by the way. League-wide rule, you have to. Not like some clubs, that Belfast can do it, but Guildford don't have to, and Guildford don't have to, but Dundee have to. League-wide.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the one defense for that is, it's like obviously the economics have to work with every team. It's like, can Fife do that? Or can, Dundee, like the economic structure between Sheffield and Belfast is going to be very different to
absolutely.
So no matter what, none of this stuff is going to work if the economics don't match up, right?
But then if the league were to put that in place now, that is a rule from 2023, 2024 going forward. It is now the 9th, as we record this, it'll probably come out on the 20th. We're recording this on the 19th of May. Can you not find a sponsor, or you better find a sponsor that is going to come up with, right, let's work it out, Rupe. Okay, that was 1,200 euros. So let's say £1,000 a month then. You need £4,000. You need £4,000 for the next 4 months. So you need £16,000 in the off season to develop 4 British players per club. That's 40 guys in the elite league alone.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, what that would do, right, is those top British players in the NHL, which are in the NHL because they get paid more money, they get more ice time because they're bigger role players, right? Your top guys in that league.
But we did it. Sorry, we did it.
But we did.
We did.
Like anyone that was in the elite league and then dropped down would have probably had a pay rise and got more ice time. That's just how
the opposite way. Got offered to go to the elite league. I remember like Clan and Coventry and fucking a few other teams coming in. I was like, what? I was like, I'm making £75 a week more than that, so £300 a month more than that.
Yeah.
And I have a job.
Yeah.
And they didn't understand that I didn't want to just like jump at the chance. I was like, yeah, the elite league might be the golden dream for everybody. But just because you're the elite league, I'm not going to get poorer.
Yeah, it is tricky. It is very tricky because at the end of the day, it's like the elite league want to put on the best product that they can, right?
Yeah,
and that's kind of understandable. And at the end of the day, it's the guys that run that league. They've got way more experience of running an ice hockey league than I fucking do.
Yeah, me too.
I've got no idea. I've got no idea. And, I compare, like when I played for Cardiff, there was 11 imports. And there's no way.
7, 8 Brits?
Yeah, yeah, we had about seven or eight.
and then a backup
Yeah,
goalie.
and there's what 3 or 4 more now, or is
It's going to be 15 next year, so
14?
it's going to be
Yeah,
15 imports, and I don't know,
yeah,
depending on the club. Cardiff have already signed their 7 Brits, but you're talking Cardiff 7 Brits are Josh Waller, Mark Richardson.
yeah.
Like
Like
you're talking fucking
top
import level
Brits.
players anyway. So
Well, and they've got the GB coach now as well, right?
that's really interesting.
So yeah, yeah, that is interesting. But I mean, like me, like 23, 22-year-old Rupe starting at Cardiff Devils is like that player would not make an elite league team now, no way. Like, well, wouldn't get any ice, that's for sure. Because the league is much better now. It's much better.
Totally agree. I totally agree.
And that is, part like the league have made like that happen because the league wanted to make a better product. And that has been successful.
It is a much better
Right.
product. You can't be done.
Go further, go faster, get fitter. Subscribe today. Hurricane e-bikes have a great range of bikes available on the e-bike subscription plans. The Cruiser e-bikes are perfect for beach rides, long distance rides, or just everyday use. The Fat Bike e-bikes look great and can cope with the toughest terrain, perfect for off-road adventures. The Hybrids range are perfect for about town, everyday use and leisurely rides with the family. Take your ride to the next level with the mountain bike and get ready for your next power-assisted adventure.
Nice.
Like, but it's obviously there are like development and stuff like that. Like we work in physical development, athletic development. It's like athlete development and stuff like that. I work with young ice hockey kids, and it's like it like for what is best for the development of British hockey. Is that something different? Quite possibly, right? So, I mean,
let's look at the numbers over it, right? So going on our theory of €1,200, £1,000 a month, right? 4 lads per team must be done, right? So that's 10 teams, yeah. They're all going to be Brits. That's £40,000 across the league. Now we're now a Pool A nation.
Yeah.
Can we not find somebody to fucking cough up 40 grand so that we stay there? Or like how many of these big companies that sponsor the Elite League could lose 40 grand running for the fucking bus?
Or even UK sport. Like
that's a more attractive offer as well.
Olympic committee, like imagine if a proposal, like
this proposal, what we're talking about right now.
Yeah, yeah, is like what, like
what's 40 grand to the National Lottery Fund?
Yeah,
it's not even a drop in the ocean. It's like me and you losing £1 on the way to the fucking bus stop.
The counter argument would be the fact that it's like the UK sport is putting that money in, and the owners of the elite league teams would be kind of profiting from those players.
Well, unless there was a central government contract where throughout the season you get paid by your club, and in the off season you get paid instead of signing on the rock and roll and going on the dole, you get paid from UK. Because what's it called? Department of.
I mean,
it could even something else.
It could even be something like how the States have like the US National Development Program. What if like the GB under 20s
had that?
What if you graduated from GB under 20s, you entered the GB National Development Program, and then you got put on one of those schemes, and you could be drafted to a fucking elite league team or something like I love it. Yeah.
Well, mate, put it this way: we've got to do something because what we're doing right now isn't working. We're not producing enough talent that is good enough to be a professional athlete.
So obviously we've just focused on the elite league there. Okay. So what happens before the elite?
Yeah, let's go way back. Let's go deep.
Yeah. So because I feel like if we're going to take
15 at least,
if we're going to take on one argument, the counter argument from the elite league would probably be the players coming up aren't good enough.
It's a great argument. By the way, great argument.
Which is true for the level the elite league is. The level the elite league is, the players we have developing,
they're not a charity.
No, like it's not good enough, and even like since I've been involved with the EIHA a bit more over the last couple of years, it's like more junior hockey players are now going to play abroad through their like
I thought it was
well,
bad when we were young, but it's.
well,
I look at
I
it
think
now. All of them are.
so. 2009s, right? Under 14s. I think there's 20 of the best 2009s. It's either 15 or 20 are playing abroad,
Okay,
and they're under 14,
and I'm
right?
not gonna make you say this because obviously you have a role within the EIHA. I want the EIHA to come on, but I'll take this shot right now. Have a good hard look at yourself because there's no other reason that our best 20 players at that age group, our 10 at the age group above, our 5 at the age group below, our best girls, whoever it may be, all our best players, they're having to go abroad to get healthy competition. Now, I had to do it at 15. How is this still fucking happening? That was 2001. That's 2001. You've not learned a single lesson in 22 years. When you it's scary when you start thinking of time like that. I love Rupe smashing a cookie right now. It's all right. I'll talk you out. I won't ask you any
No,
questions.
I was
But mate,
laughing
do you know what I mean though? Like
at your 22 years
that's
feeling
fucking
old statement.
well, I was just realizing in my brain for those that are watching and not listening on Spotify or whatever, or for those that are listening on Spotify,
I
that
mean,
was my brain and the cogs going, fucking hell, that was 22 years ago. Realizing how old, and for those that are watching, how grey. Look at this, Rupe, look at that. Look at that.
that's good.
Mate, it's fucking white now. Like, but you know, like
The only
those
thing,
times though, it's so different now.
so I'll defend the EIHA a little bit, as much as people will probably get angry at anyone trying to defend the EIHA. But you know, there's obviously been massive change within the whole program, which whenever there's change, like it's tough. But from what I've seen being involved, and like there's so many people involved in the EIJ that like care so much about the bloody game. And like it's not necessarily like it kind of comes down to the same thing as what we're saying about the National League. With the EIHA, you have a situation where a lot of the people that are involved doing all the work and stuff like that, it's like
Fucking volunteers, mate.
they're volunteers. They're volunteers. And
but if we can rid the ones of the volunteers that have egos and ideas above their station and keep the good ones, and Rupe, okay, you're involved now. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question before we go anywhere else. How many ex-fucking pros are there? Oh, actually, one. Fucking
well,
you.
There's some.
There's not many, mate.
There's some in coaching. There's nowhere near enough. Nowhere near enough because
it's not the coaching, mate, that I'm worried about. I'm talking about the running of this. This is where the sport needs to go. This is where coaching's coaching, right? We can get as many of us lot involved to a certain extent as we can, but then we don't let any of us lot be on the board or in the fucking decision-making factor, which is the people that know the fucking game. We've got people that don't know the game, and this, I know it puts you in a vulnerable position, but it's good to see someone like yourself who does know the game involved.
Like I'm involved because, like, obviously I'm involved as a strength and conditioning professional, right? Primarily.
Yeah.
I, you know, when I was playing, my career was ended because I got hurt. Right, it just derailed when I was 25. First game for Guildford, dislocated my shoulder in a fight. From then on, I couldn't play the game the same way, and my aspirations of going back up to the elite league and stuff like that gone. And what?
So was that the initial aspiration then, Rupe? Did you always want to play in the elite league, or was it? I want to see if I can do it, and then I'm quite happy to go back to being regular life.
I knew that I needed to play, so I had a year in Telford playing, and then I was gonna like signed in Guildford. Close, closer to home. It it was a place very much that me and my partner could stay and, you know, potentially be there for years and be comfortable and set up a base there and stuff, which was very much a plan. But I also knew if I had a couple good years and I was playing like 25-year-old defenseman that played
You're
B
big.
League all,
You're big.
yeah,
Fucking
I knew it's
could
like
eat some minutes.
I was nowhere near hitting my ceiling. So I was thinking, you know, I have a few good years here. The setup's good in Guildford, stuff like that. You know, is who knows what would happen. But then year and a bit later, around Christmas time, I'm getting gas from Guildford.
Yeah.
Because I can't do what they signed me for. Right.
How frustrating is that when it? And for those that have never like played a sport or not necessarily ice hockey, just a sport in general, you see us lot turn up on a Saturday and Sunday, and you don't know that my AC joint is not in my fucking shoulder anymore.
Yeah.
You don't know that that guy has fucking meniscus tear. You don't know that that guy is carrying a high ankle sprain or any of that because we put the boots on and we go out there and we do it. And we do it for the team. And it's not only now that I look back on how many of those times that I did shit for the team, that when I wake up on a cold winter's morning and the arthritis is kicked in, I'm like, we
Yeah.
sacrificed a lot for not very much in return.
Yeah.
And you've gone full circle because you're now going to get, hopefully, you're going to get a return on the back of this being a strength and conditioning coach.
Well,
but as a player, there's no protection. Hey, dude, your shoulder's fucked. See ya.
Well, you know, like obviously it's like that whole experience and what followed, and you know, like I felt bad. So obviously I get released by Guildford mid-season, don't play for about a month, and then Smiths, like I'm in contact with Smiths, and like they're trying to make playoffs, so they signed me, right? And this is how clever Guildford were. What not clever, but this is why Guildford were absolutely bloody right to fucking release me when they did. Because in my second
paper
game,
mache shoulders over there.
my second game for Bracknell, like I'm battling in the corner with Vanny, and who was playing,
who weighs 65 kilos, by the way.
Yeah, well, yeah,
and Rupe's a fucking monster. For those that don't know, Rupe, how big and tall and heavy are you?
Yeah, I'm like 6'4", 110 kilos, like 17 and a half stone. Yeah. But it's like we both like trip, hands out on the ice, like just breaking my fall, boom, shoulders dislocated again, and I got my missus having to take me to fucking A&E Frimley Park, like, you know, it's.
I wonder how many fucking people how many hockey players over the year Frimley Park I've had in there.
Oh,
I've been in there a couple of times.
Yeah, I'm trying to think actually. Where's the closest one? Because so I had my shoulder put back in. I was playing in Basingstoke was the first one, and then in Swindon was the second one, and then in Bracknell was the last one.
You fought Bully. I remember you Bully.
Yeah.
You're like this, and you're like this, and he grabs, and you just go limp, and this shoulder drops off.
Yeah,
you can see the moment on the video.
Yeah,
where I was like, oh, that's not supposed to be over there.
Yeah, and then like I think like how so I like threw a punch and I like clocked him and I knocked him back and stuff, but that moment is like as that happened, like it just pulls my whole shoulder, that comes out, and then because he's just sort of been clocked a little bit, what do you do in a fight when you get clocked is you just come back like swing.
Just swing.
Yeah, so and he's at home as well, obviously. So I'm there, my shoulders down here, and he's just like I'm just trying one-handed. I'm just trying
just getting
to
punched in the face.
Yeah,
that's fun. It's like my shoulders over here.
Yeah, but bless Bully. I should mention like he's what a nice guy.
The best guy. The best.
Like he came up to me. So that was like February sort of time. He came up to me at finals weekend. I obviously wasn't playing because I was still. I don't think I was in a sling, but I was,
still weak. Muscles are weak, joints weak.
Yeah, still rehabbing. And he came up to me and was like, "I'm so sorry, I had no idea." And I was like, "Dude, it's a hockey fight."
So,
Like,
dude, I was gonna punch you in the fucking face.
yeah, yeah. But that's
Teabag your drum set. Like, what would they? Shit
yeah,
happens, right? And like you said, that was your second injury in
yeah.
a fight. And the people that are sitting along right now and go, "Why do you boys do it?" I'm gonna ask you another question. Would you do it again?
Would what, like the
So,
same?
but like, so if you could still play, someone says, bearing in mind you've had
Oh
two
yeah,
shoulder dislocations in a fight, and go, like, someone lines up next to you on the drawer and goes, "I fucking need one here." I'm like me, Rupe, we're fucking 5-0 down, mate, at home. Give me one here.
Well,
You're
like,
gonna go, okay, like you just do the
okay,
job, like you do the
so
job.
I would 100%, like now, if I was playing hockey, I would have no fear about going and having a tilt,
Yeah,
right?
but you're a lot bigger and
But
fucking stronger now with them shoulders.
but that's because like my shoulders are stronger because I have trained and I've spent years to actually train to be physically prepared for shit like that.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not playing hockey anymore. But it was a weakness that I once had, and like for me, I had to overcome that. So now I'm fast, like two shoulder operations, 3 shoulder dislocations, and a smashed up collarbone that I should have had an operation on that side, right? Like
Shoulda, woulda, coulda, right?
now I am far more prepared to play ice hockey now than I was before any
You've
of
ever
that
been.
happened. Yeah.
Isn't
Yeah,
it mad
and
though? Like it maybe takes that. And I hope you juniors that are watching along, it doesn't need to take what it took for Root. Doesn't need to take for what me and Root were talking off air, yeah. Like, I'm a strong boy, but I've never been able to bench 100 kilos. Even when I was putting up like 45 kilo dumbbells for 10 reps, I couldn't bench 100 kilos because shoulder impingements and all the shitty shoulder injuries, AC joint injuries, everything else that went along with being an ice hockey player. Without even trying now, I'm putting up 100 kilos for 10. And you know why? Because my fucking shoulders are bulletproof because I externally rotate. I do rear delts off the charts. I didn't even know what a rear delt was when I was 21. Like, I didn't even know what that was. It wasn't a thing. But the education that you've got from your career, you now say you're more well suited to ever go back than you ever were while you were playing.
yeah. Well, so I'm gonna circle back. So this conversation into my injuries started because I was like, I'm working for the EIHA now. I'm a former player that don't want the young players to have to endure the type of stuff which players like you and I like had to deal with injuries and all that sort of stuff. Right.
First AC joint, I was 15.
Yeah. Well, so if I like so I started my degree, sports exercise science degree. So I was a PT. Like I just qualified as a PT like the year before I started playing in Guildford. When I started playing in Guildford, I started working a bit of PT at the Spectrum. After a little bit, I'm like, I want to do this properly, so I'm gonna go do my degree. And when I was year 1 of sports exercise science degree, you start looking at research in terms of, strength and conditioning and injury prevention. And the thing you keep reading over and over again is stuff like strength, injury prevention. The stronger you are, the less likely you are to get hurt. Every single fucking piece of scientific research, right?
Yeah.
And that goes to any age, like kids,
any sport,
to 80-year-olds. If you're stronger when you're 80, you're going to live long. That's an actual fact, right?
Well, no osteoporosis because working
Like,
out.
you're just going to be
that.
like, you're not going to break it. Like it's just a basic fundamental piece of like biosciences, right?
I couldn't imagine not being strong, Rupe.
Yeah, well, like the more your ability to produce force gives you a greater ability to withstand force. This is like a key part of the presentations I'm doing at the EIHA, right? Now, any movement action we do, especially on the ice, like you have to produce some sort of force to create locomotion, to create movement, right? If you get hit into the boards, you have to withstand a massive amount of force within a very small amount of time. Now, how do you prepare to withstand force? You train to produce force, which is strength training, basically, right? If you can trap bar deadlift a certain amount, if you can bench a certain amount, squat a certain amount, if you can do a weighted pull up with a certain amount, you are preparing yourself to withstand force. Like that's when studying, like I was quite lucky that when I did my master's in strength and conditioning, our course head was a biomechanist. So he's just
so straight, like levels
so
levels to like the shenanigans.
Like he is a guy called Jason Lake. He is just so crazy, like incredibly clever.
Like an encyclopedia of everything you need to know. Just so smart.
So his specialism is all to do with force. That's why I keep jabbering about force. And like so he works with force plates, which are like weighing scales, but they're super precise, and they take readings of the amount of newtons of force that you're producing sort of every thousandth of a second. So with these devices, you can do tests where you measure someone's peak force. You measure how much force they can exert in various different things. The reason for that is different sports generally have different requirements on how much force you should be able to produce. And the reason why they have those requirements is because it's a key injury prevention tool. Not necessarily.
A sumo wrestler is going to have a different force than a fucking table tennis game.
So
like, it's completely different.
And so for example, from that you can develop relative strength standards for different sports. So relative strength standards basically means for a given exercise, how much can you do relative to your body weight, right? So for example, if I weigh 100 kilos, but I can back squat 200 kilos,
double my body weight.
My relative strength is 2 times body weight, right? Now, in the sports exercise science world, in the strength and conditioning world, every sport, every professional strength and conditioning coach will have these relative strength standards
so
for their sport.
Versus athletics versus long jump versus fucking ice hockey versus football.
Exactly. So rugby, perfect example. Do you know who Adam Bishop is?
I know the name.
Yeah. So he was head strength and conditioning coach at Harlequins Rugby Club. I went for an internship there a few years ago.
Sick.
Didn't get it, but I went for that
would have been so sick.
It's crazy how competitive those internships are.
I can imagine. No, I can imagine. Yeah,
that's a conversation.
That's a coveted position, though. Like that's a legit.
Yeah.
You get to work with absolute mutants on a daily basis.
So their strength requirement was every player should be able to squat 2 times body weight. That's professional rugby players, right?
Yeah.
Now you think most of those players are probably going to be my weight, 110 kilos.
Yeah.
Or more, a lot of them. So you think about
you're chucking 220 plus on your back.
So that is what they want their guys to be able to do. To be able to
2.5 times dead.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, something like that. 1.12
bench. Something like 1.6 bench, maybe.
Yeah, probably more. Maybe 1.5, 1.6. Now, part of what we use, or we will be using in the Flames, is similar. I my 4 exercises that I like to program for that sort of thing are squat, trap bar deadlift, bench press, weighted pull up. Right now,
it's a great base.
Well, because you've got your, I program everything within 6 foundational patterns. That's a squat, a hinge, so squat, deadlift, lunge, push, pull, and then carry, trunk stability. Those 6 foundational movement patterns, like most exercises, can be sort of categorized as something within those areas. And if you can hit all of those with good variety, and you can achieve progressive overload, and you can get strong with those, you're going to be a more functional athletic individual, whether you're 70, 80, or whether you're a 10-year-old or an elite league ice hockey player, right? Now, so what I'm trying to get young ice hockey players to understand is before they play contact hockey, which is they are then going to be subjected to high amounts of force, right? When they get hit, injury risk is higher. Kids should be practicing how to produce force before that happens.
So if
right?
let's ask you a question then, Rupe.
Yeah.
You don't. I'm asking a question I know the answer to, but the people that are sat at home don't. You've got 10, 12, 11, 13, whatever the fuck whatever they are. They're that prepubescent leading into the puberty years. They don't have access to, trap bar deads, and they don't have access to a gym. No local gym lets them in, but they're wanting to do something to improve their performance, get a little bit stronger, get a little bit fitter, have those fast twitch muscle fibers firing up. They can only train at home. Would your suggestion then be to go down the plyometrics route, or would you suggest getting some weights where they could partake in some weight lifting at home? What would be your golden rule for like that 3-4 year window?
Generally, I mean, what I'll start with is, in an ideal world, the kids shouldn't even have to think about this stuff, because we should be able to provide the resources for them. Like
that would help.
As UK Ice Hockey, EIHA, blah blah blah. That's where we need to go, and that's what, aside of my business, I'm gonna start doing. And we'll, like, obviously the hockey community will see more about that as it evolves. But you can absolutely do bodyweight stuff. Like, how hard is it to do a pull up? Right?
Yeah, if you don't, yeah, that's fucking.
That
was my nemesis. I remember when I first started training, doing a pull up was like, that was my nemesis.
So when I was a professional ice hockey player, I'd say the most amount of pull ups I could do was probably 7 or 8.
Snap.
Which is
maybe 10 when I got down to like
which is
80
way too low. Way too low. Now, like we were chatting before, it's like I reckon I could go do 15 right now. Like, and I'll post two shoulder ups, dislocations and stuff like that. But that's because of training. Now,
your core strength's good, your foundational strength's good.
Like, it's just if you are able to just practice at like force production, and is like, you can do push-ups, you can do a slow eccentric push-up. That's a great exercise.
For those that are watching that don't know what eccentric is, that is a negative part of a movement. So, i.e., when you're doing your push-up and you're bringing your chest and you're bending your arms down towards the floor, that's an eccentric.
Yeah, but basically just means slow on the way down and then up as normal. That's a slow eccentric push-up. You can do pull-ups, as many pull-ups as you can do. You can do slow eccentric pull-ups if you're good at them. One of my favorite exercise.
Hideous, by the way.
Oh, yeah. I've got the Flames doing them right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're like
calling you all the motherfuckers right now.
Right. Yeah. But pistol squat. Work towards being able to do a pistol squat. If any young ice hockey player can do a pistol squat, you are less likely to get hurt than you are if you can't do a pistol squat. Like that. Like, and you know what? It's like
this old guy here's got no chance.
So the problem. So when, like, as part of what I do now, I'm really lucky that I work in a youth strength and conditioning facility. Right. If anyone's local to Guildford, like, and young hockey player, or not local to Guildford, but if you're not too far away, and any parents that are listening to this, or kids, if you want your kids to start learning how to do this stuff properly, there's a place called Advanced Performance, which is in Wolferston by Guildford. They are brilliant. Message me, like any of us could give advice. Me and Ali Emery, do you know Ali Watty?
Yeah.
So we're running like a summer camp at St Mary's Uni, which is specifically for strength and conditioning.
Tell everybody all about it right now. Plug it up.
What? Okay, great.
Plug it up.
I'll put my salesperson.
Let's get the black tie sales pitch going.
So I think it's the first week of August. We're running a fire. They're 1 day camps. So we've got different age groups that we're gonna have spread over the week, and we got a girls' day on the Friday. I think we're gonna stick the girls only day. I had posters about this all about showcases. There's loads of people who are super keen, which is really encouraging to see. But it's an opportunity where for as young as like 9 and 10, like we're going to be teaching kids how to squat, how to deadlift, how to do plyometric training, how to do sprint training. We're going to have education sessions. Ali's going to do some stuff on the sports injury side because she's a bloody senior lecturer in sports therapy. Like she's the reason why we're able to use St Mary's, which is a world class where
I don't think
facility
people realize
where Olympians train. Like because she works at the university and she teaches on the sports therapy program there, it's like she's able to get us access to the facility, which you just can't get
in our time and day. We never had heard of that shit.
Yeah, and it's like the only thing I would say is we have to encourage parents and young players to think about strength and conditioning and to start some sort of, if it's just general off ice or whatever, start thinking about it, doing it, whether it's just an off ice warm up before you get on the ice. It's like when you first start playing hockey, like I've had at the gym, I do team sessions. So I train Guildford under 14 is 6 in like a whole team of under 14s in a gym.
Doing it, isn't he?
Like, oh, is he?
Are you following Andrew Sharp? Sharpshooter training?
Oh no, I need to.
Mate, I need to. He's doing that. He's got midget AAA team under 16 and midget AAA under 18 team. Like, phenomenal.
So Joe, what's interesting is I had the Streatham under 12s in. The same day, I think I had Basingstoke under 14s in. Now you would think the Basingstoke under 14s, they'd probably be a bit more experienced and all that sort of stuff. And like no discredit to the Basingstoke under 14s, they were brilliant. Like we had so much fun. Their attitudes were amazing, really, really good. However, we had both groups back squatting. Now it was so much easier to teach the Streatham under 12s how to back squat than it was the Basingstoke under 14s.
So interesting.
And that was because they not quite hit in adolescence, like they don't have those sort of tight hip mobility issues where their femurs have just started growing really long in that growth spurt. And almost all of them could put a bar on their back and do an arse to grass squat with no problem.
No issues.
With like very, very minor coaching cues, just like bum back, heels down, right? Whereas Basingstoke, it's like they, at that age, even a couple years older, they had a bunch of mobility issues that they had to overcome. Now, we're talking about like doing pull-ups, doing pistol squats and stuff like that. At the youth S&C facility where I'm working, they got 6-year-olds that can easily do pull-ups, easily do pistol squats. And that's just because they've always done it.
They're around it.
Like from when they're kids, they're not rah mega trainaholics or anything like that as little kids. They're just little kids that's what they practice doing.
Well, think about the monkey bars, isn't it, Rupe?
Exactly. If you
messing
never
around at the park on the monkey bars and you've got that.
If proper strength and conditioning and just good movement, like encouraging good movement and stuff like that, is always a part of the program from 5, 6, 7 all the way through, you never lose the ability to do a pull-up or to do a pistol squat or to have that thing. And like James Stewart is a little Guildford under 14, right? And James, if you're listening to this, you're probably too young to be listening to this X-rated podcast.
Follow us anyway.
but I'm going to give James props because I've been training him since he was 9 years old, and he's now 14 and he can back squat, arse to grass, front squat, arse to grass, trap bar deadlift perfectly, RDL perfectly. He has 5 years of resistance training experience. Now, one of the problems we have in this country is at 16, you can go get your gym membership. Now you can start going to the gym. Cool. I've already missed out on years of practicing how to train and training during adolescent growth spurts, which is like the key time where kids should be training, because it's like a free time where you're on performance enhancing hormones just naturally.
Your testosterone
right?
is like, Rupe, hold up. Right, so sorry, little piss break there for myself. We were talking about like prepubescent growth spurts and things like that, and how like we can actually utilize this, and for the untrained mind, and for someone who's not in our industry, they will hear, you know, if you squat when you're this age, or you do this when you're this age, you're gonna break your knees, you're gonna have bad hips, you're gonna have bad back, you're gonna get injured. We know that's not true.
Keep talking. I'm just gonna go grab something which is very relevant.
I can do that. Right. So everyone would have heard, you know, well, the kids shouldn't be in the gym. They're only 13, they're only 14. Now, this is a crucial age at which not only athletes develop, but non-athletes as well. And you could be learning vital skills. Now, I never had the misfortune of working in a commercial gym until 18 months ago. And I say the misfortune because the gyms that I worked at, they were kickboxing gyms, or, you know, stuff where athletes were solely focused on being athletes and getting to the next level. Which means by the time they were 21 or whatever, they had so much experience, being around people that are like-minded. I now see in commercial gyms, like I see like a 25-year-old guy walk into the gym and not know what you're doing. I'm like, how the fuck do you not know what you're doing? You're 25. You should have 12 or 13 years lifting experience by now. But it's not a culture, whereas we need to be changing that mindset back to that culture. I was lucky enough to go to IMG Academy when I was 15, and our programs consisted of cleans, jerks, snatches, deadlifts, squats, hinges, rows. Guess what? Every lad on that roster probably put 10 kilos on that season. Everybody was bigger. Everyone was faster. I remember the first week I came back from IMG, I was 16 years old, and I hit a 92.8 mile-an-hour slap shot.
Oh.
But all I did was fucking Olympic lift and train ice hockey for 7 months.
Yeah.
Olympic lifted and trained ice hockey for 7 months at that age. It didn't stunt my growth. I was already the height I was at. Do you know what I mean? Like, it didn't affect anything else. All it did was make me strong. Well, it allowed me to go straight into the elite league next year as a 16-year-old.
What I went off to get is this book. So it's called Strength and Conditioning for Young Athletes. And obviously, I'm a strength and conditioning super nerd. So this is very interesting for me to read. But if there's any coach, parent, and you're thinking about, you know, sort of just your child's athletic development, whether they play or sport or not, resources like this. So Rodri Lloyd and John Oliver, they're like the two primary researchers in youth strength conditioning in the UK right now. That book is just an amazing resource, and you know it goes through all the technicalities of why there's no evidence really to say that growth is stunted, why the gym environment is actually far safer than going out and playing ice hockey or going out and playing football, and the reason
or any of those,
and the reason for that is because in the gym it's like you are controlling every single variable that you have. Like
breathing, tempo,
you're controlling
sets, reps,
the
everything.
exercise, how much weight is on the bar, how many reps you're going to do, your technique. It's like everything you're looking to make sure it's in control and you're reducing your risk. If you go play ice hockey, even if you just scrimmage, it's like I can't control when someone's going to sort of fall over while I'm skating down the lane and I'm going to go headfirst into the boards because I've been accidentally tripped up. And like, you know, it's like there's so many variables that can happen. And this looks at all the research, all the data to identify why it's safe, why it's beneficial, why you need to do it to maximize athletic potential, because you have that adolescent growth spurt, which is a big window of opportunity for getting stronger, getting more powerful, learning new movement skills. And yeah, so that's a key resource. Now, the other thing I'll mention on that is when what happens? This is the big thing I was presenting to like the 16 and under 18s at Showcase. What happens when youth ice hockey players turn 16 in this country?
Nothing.
Well,
Well, no development pathways as of yet,
well,
but we're working on that.
but because of no development pathways, they play seniors. That's when
Yeah.
they're allowed to start playing seniors.
Yeah.
Right? Now, so when I was a kid, I got my first gym membership when I was 16. I was already playing against men. I was playing for Streatham. I was playing for the Redskins back in the day. Right? How is that a good idea? Having a 16-year-old that's never physically done anything to try and make himself more robust, to try and protect himself, to go play a contact sport, and then I'm going to play against men. Because do you know who's playing in those leagues? Big fuckers like me.
Yeah.
So parents, your kids, your 14, 15, 16-year-olds, and now there's a lot more awareness about allowing players to go play seniors when the time is right and stuff like that. As we were saying, more players are going to go play abroad and whatnot, which might be a better path. But if they can't, the best thing to do for their development generally, because is step up and play against seniors. Now they can do that if they're physically prepared, and you know it's like I don't think Zach Milton is gonna hate me too much for picking him out here. So obviously we had him for the with us last year
from Basingstoke, right?
On a two-way. Great kid, amazing to work with, right? And so Hemmer called me a month before the season, and he said, "We got Zach coming on a tryout. He's, we want to give him the best chance to succeed." He says he's not in great shape. I think he's 20 at this point, right? Can you give him something to do, that's suitable for him for the month, just to help prepare him for preseason? I was like, yeah, sure, great, love to. And so I called Zach, and I'm like, cool, what's your training experience? What do you do? Blah blah blah. And
stick hand
Zach,
on a phone box, and that's fucking it.
Zach, and he's like, well, to be honest, I'm not really a gym guy. I just get on the ice in the summer, blah blah blah. Like
many others, by the way.
Like, no discredit to Zach. Like, I'm not trying to say that he's a bad apple or anything.
Mate, he's in the majority, not the minority.
So,
and that's what we need to change.
Well, and also he played conference all the way up. He played GB,
England, all that.
GB, everything. He's one of the at that point he'd had a year at Bison, was like the second top point scorer in his team. Like at that age, like he's one of the more prominent players, young prospects in that second division where players are getting paid.
Yeah, agree.
Right. And he was completely untrained.
Absolute novice when it comes to the health and fitness side of things.
Completely untrained. And that, so now he's got.
Can you imagine any other second kind of sport route? Imagine the second rugby league, championship rugby. There's not a single fucking athlete in that division who's not been training since they were 14 years old. Not one.
Most rugby academies start 12, 13. And they probably they may not start resistance training then, but they have S&C coaches that are doing them through like field work and stuff like that.
Field running.
Flyers, field work, still strength stuff. Most of the time they'll be able to go train at a school or something like that, or they'll have links with facilities where they can go and do S&C like once a week. But at least they're teaching them. They're starting to teach them how and the importance of it. Whereas bless Zach, he was in a situation where at no point down his development pathway was it really identified to him that it's like, if you want to play at a high level, you maybe want to prepare physically to do so. And then he was in a situation where
talent gets these kids so far, right? Because they're good.
Yeah.
They're good. They're fucking good. Like, they're good at hockey, but they could be better.
And because we don't have the big depth in the UK when it comes to players, like, you can have the decent players just excel by being the most horrendous athletes. Now, in other countries that have more depth, you need both to excel. You need to be very skilled and you need to be an athlete.
Well, we talked about Germany before, right?
Yeah.
Look how strong they are. If you're the fat kid who eats KFC on a fucking Friday night and doesn't go to the gym, but you got hands and you're in a hands team and you can snipe. Let me tell you something. When it gets to under 20s and they're about to take someone to DL2, are they going to take the kid who's got just as good a hands as you, that's squatting 120 and fucking running 4.5 minute miles and doing 10 pull-ups with 20K on his fucking back? Or they're going to take you who eats burgers and by the way, nothing against burgers, I'm a big burger guy. Big burger guy, I'll get that on record. But that's the principles.
Has a different lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
You know, and like, you know,
Mark
Tom...
Richardson, like, I've never seen a fucking better athlete in my life. The guy's still doing it. He's 36.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, and you know, like Tom Skokan that plays at Stratton with your brother, Polish.
Yeah, my brother loves him.
So yeah, he's great dude. Like he's working with us at the EIHA because he's studying to do his S&C stuff.
Oh, great.
But you know, I'm working with him and he's like, what do these kids do like for their off ice and stuff? Like looking at all the England kids that are there,
the best kids
in Cambridge, and I'm like, we're making them do like pre-ice warm-ups, and that's like the most I've ever done.
Yeah,
and Tom was like, we were on the ice every day, we were training off the ice every day, all through. Like he played at good level in Poland, right? But it's like real good. Well, I've not watched him play, but
he's nice.
You can kind of tell when you're speaking to guys and you check them out on elite prospects, you can kind of tell if they're a good player or not, right? But you know, it's like when Poland just got promoted, it's like he played with a lot of the guys on that team, and it's like you guarantee those players in that Polish team, they were all doing off ice from very young, like daily. You know, and the good thing about strength and conditioning, and I'm quite lucky because a lot of, you know, the EIHA are very much like behind a lot of the stuff that I'm trying to propose and things like that, because, you know, like it's, you know, I have good ideas, obviously. But like,
mate, you do. Like there's no argument about that.
Like what is the cost of doing strength and conditioning? Like compared to on the ice? Like,
you imagine, right, Rupe, it's 200 quid plus VAT, yeah, for an hour. That's what these kids are getting. Now some Basingstoke are getting 45-minute ice time sessions for their juniors, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so these parents are paying X amount. Now, I don't know. Let's sell ourselves short. Let's charge 40, 50 quid for 20 kids for an hour. You're telling me all those parents in that fucking thing that are sat drinking your pish rank fucking ice rink coffee at £2.80 a cup would not rather chuck that £2.80 in, all of them, and have a fucking fully focused strength and conditioning coach or personal trainer or just somebody that knows what they're talking about come down and do it? That's what it would take. A cup of coffee.
Even just like, you know, like for in-person stuff at the gym, it's like I have Guildford, and like I'm lucky with the agreement that I have for the gym that we're able to go on a Sunday when there's no one else there. So it's more affordable if someone like me needs to go and book it out and stuff. But you know, for an S&C session, I'm able to charge the parents like £6-7 for like per kid.
Yeah,
you know, to go and deadlift. Like you know, it doesn't have to be expensive. For say like part of what I'm trying to build as part of the business, and you know, is utilizing training software to provide resources to players, right?
Yep.
Now what I'm looking to do is start and like a train hockey smart academy athlete like program, basically.
Fantastic.
So if you can't access a gym, like we can all subscribing to an app where every player that subscribes then gets an account, they get to follow along, they get different programs every week and stuff like that. You can program stuff every day, and it might cost £20 a month, you know.
Exactly.
And it's like
it's less than like, I don't know, the couple of rolls of fucking leg tape and power
My-
play and magazine and all that shit you would spend in a shop on a Saturday.
My YouTube premium's like 12 quid.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
You
Mine
know,
is as well.
and
yeah.
and you know, it's like little things like that. The good thing is like I'm lucky with the path that I've taken, and you know, playing the level that I did, that you did, you know, and then I've gone back to do my S&C and like, you know, and had some exposure to the outside strength and conditioning world where you get to see what they do in rugby, you see what they do in athletics and things like that. You see the level of training that what is capable of, that way where like, you know, it in a bit I'll get to comparison between me and my brother. You like this, but you know, it's like coming back now. I'm working in hockey again from the S&C side, and like it's almost like there's a totally blank canvas because no one's doing anything almost.